Oh, didn't go full screen. Welcome everybody. May I was gonna say May the 4th be with you, and I realise it's June the 4th. The joke's dead. Great. AJ, Owen, and myself, Ashley, here with our regularly scheduled Popcast Hangout slash review session. Um, a handful of reviews as ever coming first before we get to you guys in the chat and everything. And I don't know which one you wanted to start on first, guys. Oh, hang on, no, I just remembered. Uh, screw, screw the Minions movie. Because there is another movie that is coming out on July the 1st that is my main focus of attention. A distributor finally had the gumption, guys. Depending if it comes round to my cinemas, I might actually get to officially say in a cinema, all hail Matt Johnson.
Oh,
July the 3rd, but with early opening of July 1st, which means it's literally going head to head to some extent with Minions and Monsters.
I know what I'd rather be watching.
So,
is it with the almost instant reputation it got? You think it would have spread a lot quicker?
from what I
For sure.
understand, it's basic, possibly because of European rules. It's the EU regulations that tried to establish how how fair use the movie was in terms of European stuff. Because bear in mind, it got shown at one of the Scottish film festivals like September, October last year time. And or in and I think there was another one possibly in and around February, but nobody picked it up because they claimed that it was too niche. Uh, yeah, I've seen some things that you know barely garnered any interest over here that were picked up much quicker than Nirvana was. But I have legal ways. So there goes my chance of being able to talk about it in 2027 for best films of 2027. It's actually coming out the same year as you guys. Thank the Lord. But anyway, I know at least off the top of my head two or three of the yeah, at least two of the ones that you wanted to talk about. So I don't know which one you wanted to touch on first.
What I think it boils down to for me personally with these four is I guess the running theme is going to be I thought I would think more of these than I did, except for one. And the one that I do buy into the hype for, I guess we're going to
Mm-hmm.
start with. That's Obsession. Which, by this point it's probably been talked about to death, but this is how we're doing it. If you've heard these opinions before, that just means we more or less line up. I'm not like I'm not going like completely crazy the way a lot of people are, but I like it very very much, and I love him as a talent very very much, Curry Barker. So I guess to go into Obsession, you have to start with at least start with Milk and Cereal because I heard about Milk and Cereal from a friend when it was first like a thing, when he first put it out a couple of years ago, and then I kind of forgot about it, and then I put two and two together when this came out, And so I went to watch Milk and Cereal, and then I went to the page and realized not only has he been doing videos for a very long time, most of them are comedy. So he's kind of touching on both bases of being the YouTuber that breaks out into horror and the sketch comedy person that breaks out into horror. Or both. He's like both Peel and Krager and his contemporaries right now, like Kane Parsons. And if anybody hasn't seen Milk and Cereal, it's only an hour long. But in that hour, there's enough slow burn and build up for you to wonder what the fuck it is and where the fuck it's going. And the directions that it goes are insane. It seems like it would be a really simple concept, but the way it gets there is so crazy. Um, it was one of those cases where it's like, okay, I can understand why this guy was given a budget like Obsession has, and now the next budget that Obsession is getting him, how kind of, I would say quickly he's going up the ladder, but he's got a lot of stuff on his YouTube page I had no idea of. And I thought it was especially funny that it feels very full circle because when you talk about YouTubers breaking out into horror, um, Talk to Me is going to come up. And that was one like very specific example of this is what people that do YouTube can do with a movie budget. And lo and behold, one of Curry Barker's old videos is a parody of Talk to Me. And I thought that was this really cool sort of full circle thing of how he ended up in the same place they are now. So yeah, having that conversation in general. Owen, did you have anything to say about the movie itself before I went into it?
Well, the thing about it is that I when I saw the teaser trailer for it, I wasn't sure what it was going to be, and I was I was hearing a lot of great things before I ever laid eyes on anything. It did really well at TIFF. Everybody seemed to really get into it, and a lot of the festivals were like, "All right, this is the real deal. This is something that is going to be needing to be on your radar because this is something a big deal." And I will say, as I'm sure you're not surprised by me mentioning this, the theatrical experience is a necessity for this movie if it's possible. And it's fun to watch it with people that don't know what they're getting themselves into, and it's fun to watch it with people that do. It's very
Because
well every way possible. I greatly enjoy it. I've seen it twice now. And right now trying to see something more than once is not has been not been the easiest of past year, really, when it comes to the way that the scheduling is. But apparently people listen to me because not only is the digital version get dropped for the time being, it's going to remain in theaters as it should for the foreseeable future. So it can gain even more traction and make even more money, and it deserves everything. And I mean, I'm sure we'll get into it, and I know we will because there's already been discourse, and that's been like the word that's been like my albatross lately. But it's true. We had a terrible year where something got a lot of buzz but couldn't deliver like it deserved to. You had a year where something got a lot of early buzz and it stuck through the entire season and it actually stuck to landing. I feel this is the performance, the Indy Navarrete performance of Nikki Freeman is something that's definitely award worthy. And I really hope it also sticks around like Amy Madigan did with Weapons last year.
I've heard that comparison. Have you? I think there was a few, but have you heard one particular performance that she used for inspiration that makes complete sense?
Yeah, Pearl.
Yeah.
And
I
I 1,000,000% see the Ty West in her performance, especially when she's basically left at the doorstep for the day. I feel very much a Pearl's, like, it's shot exactly that way with the facials and everything.
Yeah, if we wanted to go down the awards conversation talk, I w- right now I would think it would be more of she gets the acclaim of Mia Goth and Pearl rather than what happened to Amy Madigan. But obviously, we're only halfway through almost the year.
Yeah,
I guess.
and it's
I guess.
a good time for it to come into it right now too.
Yeah. Um. I just the whole my life just flashed before my eyes because it's like, oh, we're already like halfway through 2026 already.
Yeah, or I'll be horror nights sooner than you think.
um. But yeah, I mean, I would certainly pull for it to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I I've been feeling like it might be premature so far, but well, because it really, like we've seen with both the ones we're talking about, it definitely can just go either way with horror.
I mean, I don't think. I mean, I think that the Mia Goth direction is also likely as well. But I feel like it depends on how much it sticks around when you start getting the heavy hitters for the rest of this season. Like when you start getting like Disclosure Day and summer blockbusters brought come out, and Obsession is still doing like gangbusters business. I think that that's going to be telling that its awards chances are probably better than people think it is.
And if you want to talk like precedents happening and shifting, again, like I said, I'm not really thinking anything at the moment, but it is also worth noting the other barriers we broke recently with horror, where a vampire movie is now the most nominated movie in Academy history, and
Yeah.
it won a leading actor Oscar. So
And I can officially say it because it's been officially announced now. Even though my little hints have been leading to it moving for quite a while, Sinners is coming to Halloween Horror Nights on both coasts this year, and it's official.
I guess we can get into the more specifics of the movie.
So the question is, how much do you want to leave to the imagination? How much do you want to spoil? I mean, there's a way to spoil this whole thing right now, and there's also a way to be extremely vague about it too.
I mean, since its box office is still going strong, I guess we're still in spoiler territory. Because I feel like with Backrooms, we're probably gonna have no choice but to go into spoilers. But with Obsession, I feel like we could probably dance around it if we try.
I mean, I can talk about one of those two movies. The other one, not so much. But we'll get there later. I will say right now, did you hear about what they gave to the people that watched the pre-screenings?
I haven't, but I can probably guess.
So they gave them a One Wish Willow.
Yeah.
Surprise. Um, they gave them a foam brick, and they gave them a plush cat
Oh.
without any context whatsoever of anything.
Okay. So the cat they were given looks alive at least.
The funny thing about that is there are, I don't know where the screening was, but I remember seeing like a plush cat vending machine that they had outside of some of the theater chains that you could like the claw machine to get a plush cat. I would have marked out for that, but that didn't happen at my theater. But we got Star Wars IDs that people at Disneyland are like fighting for in the aisleways, so go figure.
Yeah. Like these small horror movies have kind of left Star Wars a bit in the dust, haven't they? Box office wise, it seems. So that's fun.
I mean, to some extent, obviously, the budget
And
situation helps. If you have something which has got a major budget and struggles to deliver, whereas in The Shape of Obsession, its budget was somewhere in the region of about $750,000, and as it
Yeah,
stands,
there,
it's
there's
just
been the.
over 165 million. Yeah,
I mean, it's also doing the Barbenheimer thing too. So that's another thing. Both movies are getting watched back to back like, regularly by horror fans. Yes, back sessions is a thing.
well,
cue that joke from the deleted
well,
scenes of Parks and Rec from Chris Pratt. Here it is.
I will say though, yeah, we can dance around spoilers, especially like people that watch our show, like Brian, who doesn't really watch sometimes until later on if he hasn't had a chance to watch it yet, especially if it gets nominated for anything. But and I spoiled things way too much in the past. There's a lot of things we're gonna have to really go into later. But yeah, when it comes to this movie, it was an interesting concept. I heard great things about it. Um, Everybody knows I watch a couple reviewers, not very many. I have people I stick to. Um, One of them's Cody Leach. I don't know anybody knows who I'm referring to. It's fine if you don't. It's okay. I don't know who the people AJ's talking about most of the time either, so that's fine. We're about even there. Thing is, I only I get like a little bit of vibes from the reviewers I watch because they remind me a lot of AJ and they remind me a lot of my opinions on things. Now we completely differ on other things, but when it comes to horror, 9 times out of 10 we're going to be very similar, if not absolutely spot on. And this was a movie that has had a lot of buzz for the longest time, and I've been waiting for it and waiting for it and waiting for it, and I feel like it greatly delivered. And it was very close, of course, without giving anything away that we're not going to spoil anything. It almost got an NC-17. It was literally 7 away from being an NC-17, and there are scenes that were put back into the movie when they do the digital release that apparently is going to have that elongated version of that scene with everything intact to be the reason why it almost didn't get an R rating.
if it's, I'm assuming this is in regards to the goriest scene.
Yeah, there was
It does.
seven more that were intended and filmed, but if they would have got, it's like the this film is not yet rated, the documentary from the MPAA that we saw many moons ago. It's the same thing. They said
Has it,
no, so they had to cut it so they could get the R rating.
I feel like this is one of those cases where they probably made a good call because
Oh yeah.
that scene doesn't need to be longer than it is.
And I think test audiences agreed with that, but I know that there are sickos out there that are very happy to see more gore from
I'm I'm
that.
literally I'm literally wearing a Terrifier shirt while
Yes.
while I tell you that that scene does not need to be longer than it is.
David Howard Thornton would not think that scene needs to be
Just
longer than it is.
But it's the because obviously with the amount of horror films that come out, yeah, over here it did actually get the 18, so the equivalent of
That makes sense.
NC-17 for strong violence and gore. I guess they felt that the violence was just that little too far to be considered a 15, despite the fact that at least
I mean,
the other ones, Backrooms and Passenger and that have come out, over the past month as well, have only been classified as 15.
well, Passenger is trash, so we don't
but
need to talk about
I'm
that
just
anyway.
saying, other films that are sort of in that ilk have been getting usually 15s.
And honestly,
it's very rare for the 18s to actually stick.
well, it's justifiable given that scene alone. But that's about as far as it goes when it comes to gore. There's psychological torture and a couple scenes here and there, but that's the biggest like gore scene in the movie, except for the party.
Yeah, the face, as it says, a character's face is smashed into an object
Yes.
in a sustained and intense sequence
Yeah.
of bloody violence.
But you know what makes that scene commendable, despite being even as it is, it's probably it goes on a little longer than it should.
Sure.
Is you can tell he was doing this on purpose.
Mhm.
The way the scene is framed,
Yeah, you know something's going to happen, but you never know when it's going to happen.
every horror fan in the audience is going, "I know what's coming. I know what's coming." And
Does
it
it matter?
come. It does come, but more than anybody would have anticipated.
There was
If
a
anything, if anything, you're just expecting a jump scare, not even a kill necessarily.
there was a lady that was about 3 rows up from me that I saw her noticeably jump when it happened on the second time I watched it, because I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming the first time because the way it was being framed. But I was like, okay, what direction are we going to go with this? Is it going to be a fake out? Is it going to be? Oh no, it's happening right now. Okay.
It reminded me of the way Edgerton used windows in The Gift,
That's fair.
where it's like the fact that he knows that you're watching the window, he's going to use against you. and yeah, going that sort of
Mine too.
what was that?
The ending of In a Violent Nature comes to mind.
Oh yeah.
You are
That's
100% expecting something to happen. You're expecting the Leatherface scene, basically, for that version of it, and no, never happened.
Yeah, with In a Violent Nature and with The Gift, it's used for anticipation that's not coming. And in Barker's case, it's I'll give you some. You're clearly anticipating something, so I will give you something. It just might be more than you're bargaining for.
Yeah, it was like when I was watching The Substance, the fourth or fifth time, and I was watching the girl next to me when we got to the end because I just wanted to see what her reaction was. The reaction.
I actually did, because obviously I avoid like trailers and stuff like that, so I didn't actually really know what this was until I saw it. I just
You know
knew that I knew the title and a vague description, so I went into this movie thinking it was going to be a Fatal Attraction thing, but wondering, but how do you do a Fatal Attraction movie now and get this much acclaim? Like, what possible thing could you add to it
my
to make
response?
it?
My, because Curry Barker took from the Monkey's Paw episode of The Simpsons, and you could definitely tell when you go back and
Well,
side by side.
well, even I mean, obviously, long before The Simpsons, the Monkey's Paw was the Monkey's Paw.
Right, of
But
course. But he said himself he took it an homage to The Simpsons.
that makes sense. Yeah, because I guess we can use that as a segue as well to the fact that something you'll notice about him coming from like a comedy angle, how a movie like this or a movie like Milk and Cereal would get humor injected into it and somehow work. Because it's one of those. Do you remember the conversation we had about I Swear?
Yeah.
Where it
How
was. I
where I wanted to laugh.
Yeah, it's like I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to laugh right now, but I'm not positive. I'm uncomfortable every time I feel like laughing.
Yeah, very much so. And you could definitely tell that there was like an aura in the room when everybody around you was feeling that same way. That if somebody laughed just a little bit at the wrong time, it's not going to end well for them. They're going to have a very rough ride back to wherever they came
it's
from.
a BAFTAs all over again.
And
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
once I swear theatrically, where I was supposed to laugh and where I wasn't.
we were talking about oh God, where was this thought going? Hang on, I've got it. It's right here. Hang on, I won't let it get away. Um,
We're using this
yes,
time.
okay. We were
Dark.
talking about his inspirations.
Yes, yes.
What I really like about Curry Barker, I'm noticing already, is that there are a lot of noticeable inspirations.
Mm.
I felt a lot of. I felt like I could really feel Hereditary in this,
I'm still blind to that movie to this day.
and some of the movie's more effective moments make it feel like he took the concept of the sunken place from Get Out
Mm.
and amplified it to show you just how fucked up it really is when she comes in and out. But what I really like about him in regards to his inspirations is imagine, especially if it's like somebody's first big movie, you'll feel them. It'll feel really derivative when people just kind of go into their inspirations.
Mm.
Through the whole movie, I felt like I could see what his inspirations were, but it never felt derivative of them. It felt like he was inspired by something and then made his own thing out of that.
Sure.
Which is the step a lot of people forget, is to now make your own thing with this inspiration. And
And
I think he's really good at doing that.
I, AJ, I also feel like the fact the announcement that was basically made soon after this was the fact that he's going to be the one that's going to helm the Texas Chainsaw remake.
Yeah.
I'm all about, and obviously, I feel that that style is going to work very well
Plus,
for
keep
him.
in mind, he sort of. It's interesting how he says he hasn't ruled out sort of doing stuff akin to this.
Yeah, there's looks to be maybe something in the Obsession universe. His next movie is going to have a direct
Well,
response to
no.
what happened to Nikki
Well, yeah.
after the events.
I'll get to that in a minute, but it's sort of the fact that he's anthology wise, he's trying to look at like maybe other people using the One Wish Willows.
Yeah, seems like more of a television concept than a movie concept, though.
Maybe, but yeah, with the fact that they've established that anything but ghosts is at least the working title for it. With
Mm-hmm.
Bryce Dallas Howard and Aaron Paul was the leads. I think I'm guessing. So yeah,
Right.
I can already see the humour side of it because it says two fake paranormal investigators must face actual ghosts while dealing with the deception of their own fraudulent business. So I can certainly see the humour that you can get into that, but then again,
That's another thing too, where it's like, I know that's the kind of thing we've seen before. Like the Frightener starts out that way,
Mm.
but I my immediate thought is whatever it is, even if it sounds familiar, he'll do something to make it his own. Because that's what it felt like he was
but the
doing
fact
this
that
whole
they've
movie.
established that anything but ghosts is in the same universe as what we just got with Obsession.
Yep.
It that itself sort of leads it to the just because of the production company, I think it needs to be called the That's a Bad Idea verse. Rather than the Obsession verse, I just feel if it is horror stuff and it's going around different things, the generic That's a Bad Idea sounds like a different name to versify, if you want to call it that.
See, I'm into more exploration, but I also just kind of loved that feeling when he went to the clerk and asked him to make the wish, and the clerk just very nonchalantly says, "No, I already made my wish."
Yep.
I kind of love not knowing what that fucking guy's wish was. because he seems like a very chill, normal dude just working at this place. It's like, what the fuck was his wish? And I kind of like that just being unknown.
See, again, what happened the last time that you had something that was fantastic and then we found out the truth afterwards? We don't want another Sinister 2 on our hands.
I feel like that's every horror franchise, but you really go after Sinister 2 for that specifically.
I don't care. Bagul was the scariest thing I've ever seen on film with those Super 8 movies. That thing still terrifies me to this day. I will never watch that movie again. And when they did the second movie, it just no. They ruined the mystique of Bagul, and I will always defend that. And I feel I'm not the only one that's going to say that either.
I can't remember a single frame of Sinister 2. It's got a review on this channel, and I don't know anything I said.
We found out way too much about what we didn't know, and that was the problem. That's the problem with The Strangers, too. The Strangers was fine as a standalone, and they just ruined it with prequels. So much so I won't even watch it. There's no reason to. We've already been there before.
No, I've seen all three of them. There is no reason to. I promise.
The last one I watched Pray at Night, and then I gave up.
Curry's little cameo as the customer service phone person is a nice touch, and really, you know, starts it getting, arguably from that point. So in essence, it's Curry basically pressing the button of like, shit's getting real now.
Yeah, it's basically like his Mitch Hedberg impersonation for all intents and purposes.
Besides his voice cameo, was his friend the only carryover from his YouTube cast?
I'd say predominantly.
Yes.
Which looks to be the same as well for Anything But Ghosts. Coop is on the cast
That makes
list,
sense.
at least. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a cameo in some shape or form from Curry in it as well. Oh no, wait, Curry is actually a name character. So
it's interesting he's only a voice cameo since he's like he's the star of a lot of his sketches in the YouTube movies.
But the thing about that is he may be only a voice, but he is an extremely important voice in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the great thing, AJ, have you got a chance to check out any interviews of Curry Barker on like any like red carpets or anything like that since the film came out?
Here and there.
Watching him do that voice, like snap, like as somebody like because everybody knows I can like snap into voices from time to time too. I mean, I have characters that I've brought to Halloween Horror Nights that were inside jokes that now people know what they are. I respect this even more because when you can just snap into a character, and Curry just all of a sudden just like, yeah, all of a sudden he goes right into the voice, and I was like, that's what I want to hear.
His dad has a YouTube channel where he like dissects horror movies, and naturally,
Given who that is, that makes perfect sense.
And yeah, I was gonna go back to honestly, going on the Texas Chainsaw conversation. I don't even think of this. Might seem like a lot, but I'm kind of serious. Even before Obsession, if I had just seen Milk and Cereal by itself, I would have thought this guy could do a Texas Chainsaw movie, and a really interesting one.
He literally says in his interview that Texas Chainsaw was what basically led him to chase the feeling of being shocked.
Nice. It's insane how many people have been impacted by the original Texas Chainsaw. I think it's one of the greatest horror movies ever made. I know Tarantino said he thinks it's perfect. It's like, it's crazy how simple that movie is and what it can birth with people like Curry Barker, especially now. But I guess we're doing a good job dancing around the spoilers because we're kind of dancing around the movie itself. But
Yeah,
but I also feel like we're getting points across. I think.
I would say so.
Yeah. I know there's been a lot of debate about Bear as a character,
Hmm.
even though it seems like there really shouldn't be much debate. Apparently, there is.
Yo, my God! Everywhere you look.
Where the question is like, so he's not one of those likable protagonists, right? We're supposed to like, he's the villain, right? Obviously,
Like, I,
there's an apparently Barker said that he named him Bear just for like a memorable name, which makes sense. I know a lot of people have equated it to the whole thing about would women rather be stranded with a man or a bear, and they would pick a bear because it would feel less dangerous. I was also thinking about Jack Rayner's fate in Midsummer. Jack Rayner was another terrible boyfriend in horror history. But I totally buy that he just wanted a memorable name. So that's just one of those things that kind of works itself out when it goes into the pop culture lexicon that it can become anything in any discussion. So I'm all for that. But yeah, what is that? What is that line? Like, what's so bad about being with me or something?
yeah,
The It's like you eventually get to the point to where it's not really a debate of who he is.
I'll say this the same way I told you on the phone. I literally identified with Bear for the literal second that he was in the booth rehearsing what he was going to say. After that, no longer.
Yeah, because I've also heard the debate of when you think about how like if you want to add a darker layer to the movie that's already where it is raising the question of if she might have liked him before he made his wish, and none of this was necessary. I I've heard. I'm just bringing that debate up for the sake of conversation. I don't think she did. I think there's a lot of clues that she
She
wasn't
told
into.
she told the Hansel and Gretel story basically with the subcontext that, oh yeah, this is, I only think of him as a brother and I don't like how this is going, so I'm going to tell this really
Yeah.
drawn out story that is extremely uncomfortable just to get the point across, but obviously it didn't.
And also, if you just need any more proof of who Bear is, there's been a lot of uncomfortable sex scenes in movie history.
Very
There's
much
been
so.
there's been a lot of disturbing sex scenes in movie history.
Yeah.
um, would you go as far as to use a certain four-letter word to describe this sex scene?
I would think at this point, given the fact the autonomy wasn't there, I would say that's the only thing you could call it.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Oh, so we're talking. E-
Grape ape,
no, I was
grape
going to
ape,
say we're
grape ape.
talking sort of Evil Dead tree style.
Yeah, that's a
Uh,
good
uh,
comparison. But don't get it twisted because the last time we saw a fake Evil Dead, I
no,
hated the
but like,
movie, so we don't
it's
want to. I don't
like
want to wait.
unconsensual occultness, if that's the right phrase. Because arguably it's the influence of the willow that probably leads to what happens rather than anything. Probably.
It's also the fact that we see not only do we just know what's going on, but we actually get to see the terror and the horror she's feeling in those brief moments that she comes out,
Oh yeah,
and that is the state she is in through the whole movie. We're just not seeing it most of the time, including that scene.
Obviously not to that extent, but the fact that you kind of also though see it kind of from the other side earlier, where basically he's asleep, but she's apparently been watching him, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It didn't go as far as the unconsensual stuff.
Yeah, so it's basically a Fatal Attraction movie, but the guy's getting what he deserves the whole time. Like all of the horror is scary and justified simultaneously in regards to what's happening to him. So I guess it's debatable if Michael Douglas deserved all that for cheating, but that's a whole other conversation. But this is obviously a much more extreme example.
Oh, so it is the. It is in. I was trying to work out which episode, but it's that blatant. It's this only happened because of Treehouse of Horror 2 and the Monkey's Paw
Yeah.
episode.
Right. That's why I brought it up right away. So it would be out on the table. Thank you, Andy Richter, for showing up for 5 minutes. I appreciate you greatly.
Yeah, I wonder how that happened.
Literally no idea.
Big names and showing up as store bosses, given that whatever Tails thing just had a random cameo from Tom Hanks again for like 5 minutes and then he was gone.
I don't know why, but that was a great cameo. I really we never got a chance to talk about it last year, but I liked Freaky Tales a lot.
Upset I never got a chance to see it. That was another victim of the booking window that was not nearly long enough. Same with Saccharin, which I've heard good things about this year too.
And I would just like it to be known, when I'm talking about these things in Obsession that I consider disturbing, these are all compliments, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I just want that to be clear. So yeah, I feel like there's so much we haven't touched on, but I also feel like we can probably transition soon.
Yeah, I'm a cat person and I was not happy. Let's put it that way.
I don't know what his deal is. He talks about killing in Milk and Cereal. He talks about killing a cat too. I'm not sure what his deal with cats is, but yeah. But I think that's also, I've also heard the theories about how that's it's kind of necessary to show Bear's character, because technically what happens to the cat is his fault.
It's all his fault. If he didn't leave, if he didn't do one thing, then Sandy would still be alive. Now Sandy is not alive. What may be alive somewhere else?
Yeah, it's the first clue that his character does not take responsibility for anything. So
that reaction when the Post-it was flipped over, because the first thing was the Polaroids when it said you and then not me. So Nikki was trying to communicate that this is not her. And she, of course, was fighting for her own sanity, being stuck in, like you mentioned, the sunken place for all intents and purposes. So, and that's a very compelling scene as well.
Yeah, and just like one thing I can't get past that I just really love is the way it's, because he's the kind of character that he is, that it's so satisfying to see him in terror, but it's never not scary also.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to feel those at the same time for like the whole duration of the movie is a crazy thing to do in the best way. It's one of those things where you look at it and it's like, when you look at the way he juggles tone like that, where you've got that on top of throwing very darkly comedic elements into it, you step back and you think like, how does anybody balance like this? You would think it was absolutely impossible on paper that this movie works tonally.
I mean, I think the pout is probably one of my favorite scenes of 2026 without any question. And also great reaction when she does it too.
You mean the actual literal frowny face?
Yes. The grumpy cat, quite literally. Because that's another thing that's been thrown out there too. That once Sandy goes away, that Sandy jumps into the body of Nikki, and that's part of the reason why she reacts the way she does in some ways.
Very Poe, actually.
Yeah, we can talk about this movie all day.
Yeah. Do you think we hit all the major things?
I think
really,
Sa- I
I
think
think
Sarah,
really the
Sarah got a
the mo-
raw.
Good.
I see. The thing is, I hate Ian too, because I feel like the only person, everybody has no redeemable qualities except for Nikki, because Nikki
Uh,
Freeman, outside of everything,
if I remember correctly, Sarah's innocent.
yes, but she also kind of like talks a little bit behind Nikki's back. Like if you notice, there was a couple of scenes that were at the record store or the music store where she was kind of like, yeah, she does this and she does that. I don't really like the way she does these things. So she's not completely innocent, but she doesn't deserve what happens to her.
Yeah.
Ian, I wanted to die 13 Reasons Why style, and I got what I wanted, so that's all that mattered. But I feel that it's like there's a lot of redeemable qualities, and I would say Nikki by herself, when she is herself, I feel like she's extremely redeemable human. Of course, she gave the money to the homeless guy. She was trying to to keep the peace in the friend group, even though she was sleeping with the friend behind the back, but that shouldn't have happened either. But then again, it's just I guess that's how friend groups work. Not all of them, but still, I will say that there was a lot to take, and you find out more as you watch the movie because there's a lot of things that possibly could be going on. And I think Curry Barker just sitting back watching like what I made a masterpiece, and he deserves to say just that.
So, do we continue using a segue of another person from is the okay, so I really don't know the background at all on Backrooms.
Like
When people started talking about the movie, that was the first time I have ever heard of this thing.
that is absolutely correct.
So it's what is it? How did it start?
It's a creepy pasta.
Basically, yeah. It was just something that showed up on 4chan, I think, at least from what Wikipedia says.
That's right.
Like 2019ish, sort of in and around COVID, and it was basically it started this sort of. I feel certainly it's carried through somewhat with games, but with liminal space architecture. So just like having these rooms, and there's one that I think it was literally called Rooms, which was a game which every time you sort of went around stuff, you kind of felt, you were going to get attacked by something, but it's basically just a walking simulator. But it's just the nature of like the way it's designed and whatever that you think that something creepy's there. Hence the thing. This then sort of got dragged into the sort of Five Nights, the horror stuff. I guess, what's the, like SMP or something? You know, like this like Area 51 sort of like there's supposed to be like a list of supernatural things like on a list, and I feel like that sort of merged into it to some extent. It's like, you know, there's entities within the Backrooms. Because really the irony, the pros, irony is the wrong word. The whole concept, I think, is basically the Backrooms is Hotel California.
Yeah.
You can try and check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. Certainly, the popular
So,
ones was this guy literally can't find his way out.
So in essence, it's like when you are sadistic in Roller Coaster Tycoon and you create this location and then you take the doors away. Can't go anywhere.
and so it's to my understanding that Kane Parsons is somebody that picked up this concept and made like his own thing,
Yeah,
Right.
or
his web series. I don't know when it started. I'm just quickly checking. Yeah,
22.
first episode went up in 2022, but it sort of was like I was gonna say it's sort of a season because the first episode sort of got put up in a block of like a fair few months. Um, so like there were 20 over the course of 2022, with one being in January of 2023, and then the last three quote unquote episodes were September 2024, October 2024, and February 2025. With filming for this pretty much starting in the summer, so I'm guessing probably maybe that episode 21 or 22, depending where it was, might have been where it got the traction to actually be, you know, getting a Hollywood version and whatever.
by a major studio and starring 2 Oscar nominees.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Renata Renzo wouldn't have had her nomination yet while filming this, but still, we can say that now.
Right.
But at the same time, she'd also it was only what a year or two after you know, worst person in the world, and of
That
course
seems
she
right.
had was she the I'm trying to remember, was she the lead in? Yeah, she was the lead in Different Man. You know, with Sebastian and
Yep.
wrestling's own Adam Pearce.
So I there's a I'm not even sure where to start with this. Uh, I know, Owen, you say you're not a fan.
No.
I'm I'm like half a fan, if that
There's
makes sense.
okay. Okay, but I say I don't like it, but I will say there's things I do like about it.
Is it the backroom stuff?
Some of the third act stuff, when it gets really bizarre, I like some of that. I like the how do I say this without giving it away? I like the still life table scene. That's very effective.
It's
And
got a it's got a great opening.
it's got a I like Chiwetel greatly in it too.
Yeah, especially when he's basically playing Buck Swope at the beginning.
Million%. My God, when he trips over, when he's trying to film the commercial, I was laughing hysterically, and I didn't realize what was going to happen like an hour and a half later.
And the key thing as
So
well, the opening bit is very much akin to the web series. You know, dare I say, the
That
Blair
that
Witch style thing. You know, it's recovered footage.
that's the vibe I was getting because I with no familiarity whatsoever when it first started, and that's what the opening scene is, especially the point of view angle. It's like I imagine this is probably what it is, and my thought was I could see why this would be a popular thing. Because it's really well executed while being like it's wild to take a concept that's effective because of how bare bones it is,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to make that work is really and I love especially when you see the way like things are kind of weird and incomplete, gives it this weird AI vibe. So
Yeah.
I was very relieved when I think it was just yesterday Kane Parsons was quoted saying that AI defeats the purpose of filmmaking and he would never use it. So that's good news. That's very good news. um, and yeah, I was really drawn in by the concept itself and the fact that kind of work with dream logic is what it feels like. Is
Yeah.
what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started having problems with it, because first of all, I kind of thought we're about to talk about Exit 8.
Yes.
Exit 8 ended up being more like what I thought this was going to be,
Mm.
where we're just in it, and that's the whole movie.
I'm very glad that at least you said that starting out, because we'll definitely have a better conversation about X8.
And I'm trying to figure out because this Backrooms is almost 2 hours.
It's too freaking long.
And when you look at the concept and you see that runtime, it's like something got stretched out here.
To some
What happened?
extent, I feel that
I didn't
the
realize.
budget got stretched out because for something, given that we talked about Obsession, and it's less than 1 million, this somehow had 10 million. I mean, I guess a lot of it would go into because apparently they used the size of 4 sound stages to create the Backrooms set, which apparently in production was
Mm-hmm.
described as like the weirdest form of Tetris you can think of in terms of. And you'll be
This,
unsurprised to know
I mean, this
crew members got lost on set because of the nature of the whole design of the thing.
This one also has a cast of at least three very recognizable
Yeah.
actors,
Mm-hmm.
which Obsession didn't have. I'd imagine that probably had something to do with it. But I didn't realize we were going to be going in and out of this because Chiwetel and Renato Renzba have their whole stories going on. I feel like Renzba's backstory is kind of there just for the sake of backstory. I didn't really feel like we needed that. It felt
Right.
much more like we were kind of Chiwetel's the focus, and then the movie detoured off on her. And that because that's one thing I wasn't expecting was going in and out of that. It's like because once you're in that atmosphere, you kind of want to stay there. So whenever we're outside, instead of being like, "Oh, I'm really drawn into these characters. What's their story?" It's like you're kind of thinking, "I kind of want to get back into the vibe." Like, I was like with Exit 8, where that's the whole movie. A shorter movie that is almost exclusively the the key scenes I feel like would work better
Mm-hmm.
because there's something else about this movie that was really throwing me off and really killing the vibe. The great thing about it, and I've read stuff after the fact, and I've heard people like of what people were saying about the I don't know if you call it the source material, whatever the stuff that came from online before the movie existed was the fact that there was just this mysterious what the fuck aspect to it.
The trailer was very much not giving anything away.
I was genuinely shocked by how fucking exposition heavy this movie is.
That's fair.
They spend half the movie trying to explain what the backrooms are, and I feel like
Mhm.
that's something. I feel like that's something you'd want to avoid, like the
Which
plague.
the irony is, of course,
And-
you get a lot of that in terms of. I mean, it's done in found footage form, but you get a lot of that through the YouTube stuff. Like it touches a lot on like stuff that happened in the 70s and the 80s, sort of deal.
That, with something like this, I would think you would just want to explore the vibe of the concept rather than trying to explain it to death.
I guess that's the problem
Because
because obviously
there's
with
another.
it with so much of it having been established in the original stuff, because I don't know whether this figures into that same thing or is this like a soft reboot maybe. It's on. I feel it's unclear
Well, there,
that whether this is properly in the same universe, but then because of the nature of the backrooms, it easily could be.
there's another big problem with this explanation of sorts that they're going for. Um, and this is kind of spoilery if you're aware of the movie I'm about to mention, which you probably are. Um, with the explanation they give and what we see happening at the end of the movie, how they're presumably going to expand on this and make more movies. How do you make a movie that picks up where Backrooms leaves off, and you're not just making Jordan Peele's Us again? I feel like that's exactly the direction it's going with its
Yeah.
explanation. Is it's essentially becoming Us. It's just they're in like a parallel place instead of an underground place. But it's the whole making copies of people thing. And what's really funny about this movie having so much exposition is what's the most criticized scene in Us? It's the scene where Lupita fucking explains everything. And I was actually shocked by how much of this movie is just exposition when it could be being what it was already doing well. But I mean, regardless of all that, I was still engaged with the movie, but I was just really thrown off by how much they were trying to explain it, and I just feel like that's just the opposite way you should go with a concept like this.
Yeah, like the interesting thing is as well in terms of he's done an interview saying that he isn't finished and that there's things in the works, but then has also noted that the YouTube web series will continue. So, in that aspect, maybe it to become sort of, I don't want to say an anthology series, but maybe something that gets put on streaming might be better for it because I feel like the atmosphere thing, it sort of, I feel it's sort of somewhat unfriended style. That concept works if you're watching it on a screen in a similar fashion to how the people are in the things. I feel being able to watch in a more claustrophobic space, backroom stuff, might be more convenient than. I mean, depending how creepy your cinema is, how much attended it is, and whatever. Um, I'm not sure how future ones will be received, especially if they do want to still try and do the exposition. I certainly get your vibe,
Yeah, because
and
the
certainly when we get to Exit 8, we'll talk about it as well. The sort of the atmosphere needs to be right, and because you've expositioned a lot of it, it's like the atmosphere, which should be center stage, is kind of put to the side as a subplot, as to as you say, exposition sort of things. Mm.
Yeah, because the background stuff itself is great for theaters because it's
Mm-hmm.
so immersive. But then it's like you get a second YouTube video of somebody explaining what you just watched is what the rest of the movie is. It's literally Mark Duplass's whole character is just that. That's his whole purpose. It's just to explain things and figure them out. And it's like I kind of don't want to figure it out. That's what makes it so freaky.
It's that 25% or a third, or what it feels like, of the last Mission Impossible film, where it's like you're just telling me this to fill in the gaps for convenience, where all I want is the experience. Okay, with Mission
Yeah.
Impossible, it's Tom Cruise doing stupid ass stunts, but with this one, it's again, it's sort of it's weird. Like, considering all you see of the concept, it's like you don't want to be in there, but because it's that intriguing and enticing, it's like, no, I want to be there. Enough of this, Agent Smith sitting me at a blooming desk, telling me what isn't happening.
It's it's literally a roller coaster. You spend the whole time screaming, and then the next thing you do is get back in
Yep.
line. Like it's Oh, and is this somewhere where you are, or
Uh, well, I was. I know it's a slow burn. I get it. I understand. I wish I liked it more. Um, I like the when we find out who the actual antagonist is for the last bit of the movie. That's some terrifying stuff, especially when we door and everything like that, and the background and everything like that. That's done really well. For the most part, though, I just kind of tuned out. It just didn't work for me. I wish I asked a couple people I work with. I was like, "All right, can you explain to me why you like this movie?" And they gave me good thoughts and everything. I was like, "Well, we like it for this reason, this reason, this reason." I'm like, "Okay, well, okay, all right, I get it. There's definitely a market for it, clearly, but nah, it's I have a liminal movie that we're going to talk about in a few minutes. Thankfully, that I actually do have passionate feelings about. I didn't think
you know,
I'd say that here, but here's where we are.
I know we were talking up Chiwetel a little bit there, but something we probably do want to emphasize is another very good quality to this movie that makes it work as much as it does is the performances.
Absolutely.
Despite the fact that they have to deliver a lot of exposition, they do it very well as far as acting goes.
No, the acting I won't discount at all. I mean, that's a million percent the reason why you'd want to watch the movie. But
If Chiwetel being able to act is news to you, you've been watching the wrong shit.
I mean, it's okay. He had a cameo in Armistad, but what? Probably Dirty Pretty Things was where he gained the attention mostly, because it was probably that got him the gig in the anthology that is Love Actually.
Wherever Kinky Boots was, I think it was in there
Kinky
somewhere,
Boots
wasn't it?
was '05, the same year as Slow Burn,
Oh wow.
Serenity, and Four Brothers. Hmm. Oh, I forgot. She
Well,
was.
I guess we've
He was in She Hate Me as well.
yep.
Oh, and Melinda and Melinda. So yeah, it probably was Love Actually that got him on the American attention, but Dirty Pretty
yeah.
Things is a really good film.
Yeah, he made the poster for Melinda, and I didn't know who he was at the time. That's crazy. I had probably seen Four Brothers by then and just forgot. He's the villain in Four Brothers, but yeah. But I think we have given ourselves a pretty perfect transition into Exit 8, right?
Yes.
Well, Owen, do you want to start?
Yeah, I really like this movie a lot. It's actually one of my favorite ones of the year right now. I mean, Obsession's on there too, honestly. And weirdly enough, there's 4 movies that are on this video that I'm aware of, and I like 3 of them. And right now, at this moment, 3 of them are on my top 10. I don't know how that's going to change because this little movie I watched Monday I needs to be made room for yesterday, so I need to make sure that gets on there. So,
Another
um,
another good
I
video
heard a
game
lot
adaptation. That's the
about it.
important thing.
Oh my god, dude! Just wait till you see it.
No, but like, I mean, I had enough buzz from when it came out last year that people were praising it
Mhm.
enough. I again, I don't think I've played through Exit 8 itself, but there are lots of very similar ones.
It's
The whole basis of the game is at least you're on something 8, um, and the idea is for you to leave the thing, be it an office complex, be it a train station, be it a train carriage in itself. But the idea is that if there's anything that seems untoward, you basically go through the exit where you came from. If everything is normal,
yep.
you go through the exit as intended. And certainly, as it is with some of the games, um, some of them are sort of bullshitty in the way of like they changed one tiny thing that you've really got to pay attention to. Other times it's like, no, there's something blatantly wrong very clearly. Um, but it's just you need to escape before you get got sort of thing. Um, and certainly Exit 8 that started it all does have that interesting sort of aspect of the kid that always seems to sort of be around sort of thing. And to some extent that happens in the game is also what happens in the film. So again, I sort of won't be too descriptive of that in case people haven't played the game that want to see the film. Certainly, it obviously has to go into more of it because there's only so much you can fill with a 95-minute thing. If it was just, somebody trying to speed run through the actual game turned into a movie, it wouldn't work. So there needs to be like backstory, but I feel like it adapts it very well. Um, but yeah, you guys have
I
actually
was
seen
gonna
it. So.
ask. I was gonna ask because we'll say that with the kid, the movie has a very unsubtle theme.
Yes.
Is that whole theme part of the game also, or is that a movie thing?
The
As far as how the kid fits into his thing, we'll say.
uh, from that aspect, it's tweaked slightly. I want to say at least with the original game, it's more like sort of was it Reloaded or Revolutions in the Matrix, where it's like it's like sliding door style. in the sort of sense of like, if you get on the train that goes the one way, you're coming back. But then at the same, it sort of seems like that's why the sort of loop comes into it when things, go wrong, sort of thing. I don't know whether the kid is attached to the protagonist in that sense in the original stuff, but I feel certainly the way it's been construed and put into the backstory of the protagonist. Um, they're dubbing him the Lost Man, but I'll give it's the protagonist. It's not Creepy Man.
That
Or sorry, Walking Man. That's the one.
that Walking Man's very
Mm-hmm.
effective for what he's there for. I will say that when the movie really started like proving its point over and over again, like I mean, obviously it's in the movie's nature. It's going to inherently feel repetitive. Like that's kind of what the whole vibe is. So that's not what I'm criticizing, but I feel like this is one of those movies where you get what it's trying to say with like an hour of the movie left. And the movie has no choice but to just keep telling you what it's about. Even visually, just kind of over and over and over again. So I like thematically I felt like I don't know if I want to say it could have been stronger, but it's or it could have been a little more subtle, um but as a concept and the way and just like the way they are able to make those hallways and that whole thing just feels so sinister, even though it just looks like any normal set. But it's like just with like sound and with the walking man and all that, it very much feels like you're right in the point of view of a nightmare, especially with the point of view opening shots, which are really good. It's crazy how much this accidentally has in common with
I
Backrooms.
mean,
I feel, I
looking
feel
at
like
the
I feel
game,
like we haven't moved on.
basically it. The game itself, I'm just reading here, and it makes sense now. Um, there's a Scandinavian game called I'm on Observation Duty, which is basically, to some extent, Backrooms meets Five Nights, and that the idea is you're like a security camera guy that's looking for anomalies within set space. And if you miss so many anomalies, the quote unquote entity takes you. And, you don't actually sort of get. It's not like you get jump scared like Five Nights at Freddy's. It's just the fact that basically you're working a security desk aspect and seeing it. So it's that concept that basically got brought in. Uh, Again, basically building on the liminal spaces stuff, in that you're seeing the same. Because sometimes you feel, at least in certain spots, if you go to certain places, you feel like the sort of sense of deja vu. So and then so it was sort of jumping on that to some extent. What I find interesting is how it sort of how this had a way quicker turnaround than some things, because the original game was like late 2023, and at least in terms of the film, it showed up at Cannes May 2025. Admittedly, sort of with the nature of it, you can probably do it on a relatively shoestring budget, because you're obviously using the same set, certainly more so than Backrooms and whatever. Um, then again, you've obviously got to incorporate some of the crazy stuff that happens.
Yeah, and that in like the last third there, they really
Yeah,
amp it up pretty quickly. And I do feel like it had kind of lost me by then. I will say though that I'm not a
mm-hmm.
gamer at all. But the whole movie, I was thinking like, I'll bet this makes a really good game. It just
It's
feels
good
like
in
it.
that respect as well. It's like when you go through and you're absolutely adamant that it's as it should be, and you open the door, depending on what it is, and you find you've been reset back to 8, or to 0, depending how it flips. Because certainly the VTuber inspired, I think they called it Hollow 8 because Hollow Live. That was supposed to be sort of an office building where you're going down floor, so you start from 8 as you're trying to get to the ground floor to leave the building, sort of thing. So in that essence, it's sort of the opposite, going from trying to get from 0 to 8 as it is in the original stuff. But certainly with that aspect, it's like if you sort of really getting close to the end, your 6s or your 5s or 6s or 7s, um, and you're adamant that you're right, and you go through and you all of a sudden reset back to the beginning, it's like, what did I miss? Because it doesn't seem like there's anything obvious. Certainly with the game concept, it feels you could do horror aspects to it, but sometimes they make it so easy to sort of escape on those games. Certainly now, because there's a lot, because Exit 8 just became a phenomenon in the sense of, right, let's copy this as much as possible without giving him credit. Um, so I guess to that
I
extent, flipping it
I think
round as quick as they did makes sense, but I feel that Karamura-san did a good job in terms of presenting it as they directed it, as well as like taking some of the concepts from the game and then adapting it into sort of the backstory, shall we say?
yeah, because I kind of love that we're talking about these two movies back to back because it kind of shows that it just depends on the movie how you're gonna feel because there's things I could say about Exit 8 that completely contradict what I just said about Backrooms because where I was saying Backrooms should have just been like that should have been the movie is that feeling and staying in that vibe. Whereas now I can tell you that Exit 8 does do that, and I feel like it suffers a little
Mm-hmm.
bit because it might be better served for either a game or something short, like maybe a half an hour short or something. Because another thing where I was saying like don't give me background in Backrooms when when we started following the Walking Man and we got the Walking Man's story, I actually wanted that, and I'm glad that we got it. And the way I think the reason it works here is because part of the horror of Exit 8's concept is that the Walking Man's story is going to bring it full circle,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a case where I feel like backstory does work.
Yeah, because that, that
So
that
yeah.
is something that
So I was
definitely
kind of on
wouldn't be
opposite
touched in the
ends, but
games. It's just, here's this creepy thing.
because he was working very well as just a creepy thing with the way whenever he would like when he was trying to run away from him and whenever he would go like completely around a corner and then the camera would pan over really slowly and what shocked you every time was how fucking close he was because he got like closer every time. That's a really effective use of that, and then to take that and give it a backstory, it just made ultimately that whole thing work for me. But yeah, I still thought the movie itself kind of ran out of steam after a while, and I was kind of checked out by the hour mark. But but yeah, I'm still into it as a concept and all that. So, and the direction of it and the sound design, all that stuff's really great. Owen, did you have anything else?
No.
I was trying to get the, because now I'm trying to. I'm just looking at the looking at the Wikipedia page for the original game. I think it's, from what I remember. Um, I think the whole kid aspect might, some kid thing shows up in Exit 8, but there is a kid that has backstory that's in the I want to say sequel slash one in the same universe, which is Platform 8, which I'm pretty sure that's the one that's the actual train carriage itself. I think with that one, the the kid and the backstory thing is something that's more akin from that. So it's probably taking from both to some extent in that regard. Um, but it's good to see. It's good to see foreign horror, especially from Japan, considering it was them that gave us Ju-on, and then Grudge kind of got stupidly westernized. Same with Ringu. Part of me feels I doubt we're gonna get a Western equivalent of Exit 8. Um, so yeah, just keeping it as that, and I do think the sort of 95-minute range, yeah, it's a bit too long, but I don't think it outstays its welcome as much as maybe Backrooms does with it. I mean, it's only 15 minutes, but it says a lot that I feel like something of this Backrooms aspect probably fits a 90-ish minute thing rather than verging on 2 hours.
Yeah. All right, should we go in a totally different direction now? Let's you want to talk about Dead Man's Wire real quick? I don't think I have a lot to say, but Owen, you were really into this, weren't you?
I really liked it. I think Dacre Montgomery has done really well in a very small career that's probably just going to get better. I mean, he's in two different movies that I very much enjoyed this year. I mean, I don't love Face of the Death. I guess it's more Barbie Ferreira, but I mean, I will say that he's great in it, and he's great in this too. I mean, I like movies like this. I like political espionage. And when I heard about the concept for this movie, I was like, all right, I'm in. I don't even have to see the cast. Okay, there's the cast. Okay, I'm really in. Um, I like its pacing. I like the way that I just like it goes from scene to scene. And again, you got to understand, because of the way that this this new concept we're doing for the reviews is, I haven't seen this movie since January.
Yeah.
I like this movie a lot, but I would not be able to tell you very much why, because I saw this movie in January. So if you asked me to talk about The Furious, or you asked me to talk about Obsession, sure, I can do that. If you asked me to talk about a movie I saw in January, it's not going to get over very much, but I will say that I very much enjoyed what I saw.
I'm gonna guess you like your dialogue scene, so I'm assuming any scene that's like just the two of them,
Skarsgård's dialogue is great.
or the scenes when he has to negotiate, like when he tries and fails to negotiate with Pacino. Pacino Gettys him,
All the
essentially.
Coleman, all the Coleman Domingo stuff is solid too.
Yeah, Colin Domingo's always gonna be solid, regardless. I did.
Obviously.
I didn't know he was in it, and I was so psyched when he showed up.
Same.
especially
Favorite
especially
part.
just playing like a smooth, chill guy that just kind of happens upon this. This is kind of forced upon him.
Yeah,
Is
for
like
sure.
perfect.
From certainly from what I've seen of the stuff and whatever, and sort of the write-ups, Pacino in it. I don't know whether that's supposed to be a subtle nod to Dog Day Afternoon.
Probably.
I'd say a
Yeah.
not so subtle one, probably. It is nice that it didn't feel like they were giving him a throwaway part because like he's not in it much at all, but he gets something to do. He gets to play a character that's like really whoa fuck this guy,
Yeah.
which is a really fun character for late years Pacino to play.
I, in that respect, okay, the casting got changed and everything because of the allegations and accusations against him, but I feel like Pacino's sort of bit here is very akin to Kevin Spacey / Christopher Plummer in All the Money in the World. He's in there for a few minutes. He's
That's what I was saying when
basically the reason why all of it's happening. And after the sort of little bit where you see of him, it's like, yeah, I guess we're not supposed to like you.
said that he pulls a
Yeah.
Getty essentially on him. um, this is okay. So I was also really psyched about there being a new Gus Van Sant. So there's that too. Um, my feelings during this movie were weird because it's like this has all the things I like about a movie, but I don't know if it's just like you were talking about Dog Day Afternoon and there's just so many. This I feel like I was at a point now to where it was like I feel like I've seen this hostage movie about 30 times, if not more, and it didn't real I guess Skarsgård's performance would be what would break out of it the most as far as being bringing something to this that we've seen so many times before, but it's all I mean also, you know, being the true story and all that. It's like you can't fault the story for literally existing. But I don't and I think one thing that was holding me back is that typically a high point of these will be the dynamic between the kidnapper and the kidnapped. But I feel like they didn't really there wasn't really much going on between them like you would think there would be. Montgomery didn't get enough to do. And like the scenes, like I said, it was more like the scenes where he's negotiating with Pacino were working better than the scenes where it's just the two of them. Because I mean, I obviously not that he would want to, but the fact that Richard's not really engaging with him, so it's really just kind of him going off, and he just happens to have a hostage. Is kind of what it feels like, and it's like if to have more of a dynamic between them, I feel like. But of course, when we learn in the text, um, what Richard's response was when he learned of Tony's death was that he would finally stop talking or something like that. It's like I guess that does give you the vibe that that's probably what they were was Richard was just kind of silent and Tony was a big character. But when you're doing a hostage movie, I don't know that that dynamic works as far as being a movie. But and there's still like the style, the '70s style of it, and all that, and the performances themselves. And I was just really, I just really felt like there was supposed to be something more gripping, and especially when you have a character that has a shotgun wired to his head the whole time, you would think there'd be more suspense. But the most we I don't know why that nightmare scene I really hated the nightmare scene, and I don't know why you would do that.
Part of me does
Right.
wonder. This is going to be another one of those what ifs. Because when this originally was being pitched out to get people attached, Werner Herzog was attached to direct, and Tony was possibly going to be played by Nicolas Cage.
I remember hearing that,
Um,
and it would have been them reuniting after Bad
Yeah.
Lieutenant for this.
and I just, in that respect, I don't know whether it would have worked as much, because what I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember how old he would have been. He would have been. Okay, so in his mid 40s. I guess because of the way Cage looks, you could probably get away with that. um, but I feel Skarsgård probably would, did a good as job as he did and whatever. But yeah, certainly from the way you're describing it, it feels like maybe you kind of felt it was going to be, more Stockholm syndrome or something like that than maybe what was presented.
Either you could go the Stockholm way, or you could go the antagonizing way. But you'd expect some kind of
Yeah,
something.
I mean, even King of Comedy esque with Rupert, and not Jerry Lewis, even though it's clearly supposed to be Jerry Lewis. But
I have a question for you, Owen.
Okay.
How long did it take you to recognize Carrie Elwes?
I think it was the voice.
I didn't know until there was about 10 minutes left. There's an angle of him in the courtroom where it's like, holy shit.
Following his career for so long, it's kind of like I can spot him.
The whole movie, I was like, did they want Mark Maron and just got this random guy?
Yeah.
I had no idea it was him until, like, the courtroom. And good on him, because otherwise he's very recognizable.
Right.
And I think I knew he was in it. I know his brother produced it. And I'm pretty sure I knew he was in it, and then I forgot to look for him. And it was just like, oh shit, he's been here this whole time.
Pictures of you can definitely tell that's who it is.
Yeah, once you know, it's like, oh yeah, of course. But it's like, I just didn't. Yeah, the whole time I was like, man, Mark Maron should have played this guy. I would have never guessed. I would have accidentally said that Mark Maron and Carrie Elwes were eligible for the same character, but here we are. So yeah, I was surprised by how underwhelmed I was. I was really trying too, but it's like usually this is like the kind of thing I'm totally into, but yeah, it was interestingly enough, Coleman Domingo's barely involved in the kidnapping aspect. He's like like an accidental bystander.
Yeah.
His performance was the one I was into, and he's a side character. It's like I kind of just want a talk radio esque movie that's just this guy doing his job, like, and I would watch that. And apparently the DJ he's based on is nothing like that. They like really amped up the character into something totally different for Coleman.
Sure.
So yeah, a fictional movie about that guy is what I left the movie wanting. And I don't normally really care about this, Did you find the real life footage they showed at the end jarring?
Oh, for sure.
Because it's like that's like I know it doesn't matter necessarily if you look like the person you're playing, but I mean, it's it's pretty blatant this time. It's like I'm glad I didn't know this story before the movie.
Same.
So thankfully I wasn't thinking that throughout the movie. It was only at the end when they showed the footage. It's like, what the fuck? Who are these people?
In that respect, though, I guess it's one of those cases of the story seems like it's something that has been made up. So when you're suddenly confronted by, no, this actually happened.
Yeah, and it's like, and again, you have to give it the benefit of the doubt when it's real, because you can't say, oh, the plotting sucks, because it's just what happened. But yeah, but a lot of people seem to be on board with you, Owen. I feel like I'm in a minority that I was a bit underwhelmed, but it just felt like all the other hostage movies I've seen just not as engaging.
Maybe I just haven't seen enough hostage movies.
And well, the thing also is that I know it's a Gus Van Sant movie, so I was kind of already anticipating getting a movie that's relatively low key and not like something big. But even knowing that, I struggled. But yeah, so is that the review portion?
Yep.
Yeah, only about an hour and 40. We're at the same length as Backrooms.
The difference is I was more compelled this conversation.
So getting through what I can from chat for 45-ish minutes maybe. Josie saying, hey team, new watches I wanted to add. Kin does Daza, the Admiral Crichton, the big hit, Offbeat, Fear from 1996, Sparrows, Fancy Dance, and Sumo Do, Sumo Don't. Have any of those you've seen, AJ? I'm guessing Admiral Crichton probably.
Fear is fantastic,
As it,
and
obviously, Fear has come up a
Yeah.
lot, so obviously that. And did I hear
Yep.
the big hit in there?
yes, you did.
I thought a lot of people like to hate that movie. I could probably quote that whole movie to you right now. I still randomly think of quotes from that movie like nearly daily. I swear to God, I'm not kidding. Every time Meryl Streep comes up, I hear Lou Diamond Phillips in my head saying, "Improv? What are you, Meryl fucking Streep?" Even what Joaquin Woodbine's got going on in that movie, it just all these random lines still pop into my head, and I love how over the top it is. I love that the final fight is in a video store. I love how over the top Lou Diamond Phillips is as a villain. I like love everything about that movie except fucking Elliot Gould puking on him. But apart from that, um,
Oh,
yeah,
and Joe.
that
So
thing that thing Wahlberg has where whenever he's stressed out, his stomach gets upset and he just wants to lay down. Very relatable. I feel like that all the time. I always feel like, oh, I'm feeling Melvin Smiley again.
I was I was thinking that like when we were, it's funny because Fear was coming up in my head when we were talking about Obsession because I feel like Baron is the anti David McCall.
I mean, they're both villains, but
Yeah, but
in
yeah,
the different direction.
what David did was way beyond anything that Bear could have done.
Josie also mentioned she watched
I
Beautiful Girls, also from '96.
I will say right now that, and I'll stick with this. I feel like the scene in Fear with Reese Witherspoon is and the roller coaster to Wild Horses by the Sundays is one of the hottest scenes I've seen in film history, legitimately, because I love the way it works.
I I saw and I liked Beautiful Girls. I don't remember. I remember Natalie Portman's performance, I think, but I don't remember much else. But I remember liking it. So there's that.
Spencer mentioning Time to Watch the Humans, and then also Yay Obsession Box Office and Backrooms. The kids are all right after all. Um, right, so Bry's recap of the Oscar movie marathon. Let's start with AJ's favorite list of movies that have vomit scenes. Uh,
Oh God, there's a
Elio,
lot of them.
of which there's twice but we don't see. It Was Just an Accident. Weapons, in brackets in black. And Train Dreams, which was clear.
Yeah. Yeah. Last year was good to me. There weren't that many.
There haven't been that many this year either, really.
Oh yeah, there have. There's already been too many.
I don't have a worse one here for the
Well, obviously.
marathon, but I
But,
will say the most boring was Blue Moon.
oh, jeez. I'm not gonna say anything. So I love Blue Moon. I will defend it. Damn. I'm also tired and no food and running on barely any sleep. So I feel AJ's pain right now.
Most overrated, although I do think the hype is too much. K-pop Demon Hunters. It's a B average movie.
I
Okay.
never saw it. Multiple opportunities, but the only chance I had was after it got its acclaim was during Horror Nights, and
Are
that
you
wasn't
guys
working.
getting it next week, or is the schedule's not out yet? Because I know my
Nope.
local cinema is apparently doing showings next weekend to, I guess, coincide with the first anniversary of when it came out on Netflix.
We're talking about the movies that I'm watching starting tomorrow, or we're talking about the week after.
Probably from well, for us it's next week, so starting from the 12th, I guess, as semi counter programming to Disclosure Day, maybe.
I have Disclosure Day is the only movie that I'm going to be watching that day unless I get something
Yeah,
that
so
surprises
you
me.
might, as I say,
Because
they're doing it at least at the one cinema chain here, and I know that at least when I went to the DVD, DVD and Blu-ray store, the home entertainment store, HMV, they're now pushing pre-orders for the Criterion release already, even though we don't even know when it's coming out yet. Like, we're pushing K-pop Demon Hunters already when we're 12 months on, and I mean, I know we're getting a sequel, but it's like it'll be interesting to see whether the interest and everything is there as much for the sequel as it eventually got to be with the the first one. Brian says what I agree and disagree with in terms of the Oscars minus original song, makeup, and hair and visual effects. I agree with Frankenstein for production design, Mr. Nobody against Putin for documentary, Sentimental for international, and Sinners for score, cinematography, and screenplay. And then in terms of what Bry should have won, One Battle After Another for sound, Arco for animated, Begonia for adapted, um, Sentimental Value for supporting actress for Igna, as well as supporting actor for Skarsgård. Rose Byrne should have got actress. Marty Supreme should have got costume design as well as Chalamet for actor. Sinners for casting and also directing for Coogler. And then in terms of best picture, the ranking that Bry has for the 10 is from 10 to 1. Secret Agent, Train Dreams, One Battle After Another, Hamnet, F1, Begonia, Frankenstein, Sentimental Value, Marty Supreme, and Sinners being number 1.
I have
Yeah.
mixed feelings on that.
And then
I have more than mixed feelings on
and then
that,
for
but I'm going to
Bry's
keep my mouth
personal
shut.
lineup, in the amalgamated Best Animated Documentary International, 5 Leo, 4 Zootopia, 2 3 Mr. Nobody Against Putin, 2 Arco, and 1 Sentimental Value. For adapted, Zootopia 2, Little Amelie, Frankenstein, Song Sung Blue, and Begonia. Being the number 1. For original screenplay, Elio, Sentimental Value, Arco, Marty Supreme, and Sinners. For supporting actress, the honourable mentions are Madigan, Fortune Feimster for Zootopia 2, Wunmi for Sinners, Elle Fanning for Sentimental Value, and Haley Steinfeld for Sinners. The list for Bry would be Odessa for Marty Supreme, Victoria Grosbois for Little Amelie, Renata Renser for Sentimental Value, Julia Garner for Weapons, and Igna at number 1. Yes, I put Renser in supporting because I felt Sentimental Value was more of an ensemble piece. Yeah, I mean, arguably she's the more leading of the 3, which I can see why they did that, but to some extent that also does fit as well, I'd say. Supporting actor honorable mentions: Elordi for Frankenstein, Joe Owen for Hamnet, Josh Brolin for Weapons, Remy Edgley for Elio, and Aidan Delbis for Begonia. And then Bryce 5 for supporting actor, Noah Jupe for Hamnet, Kihi Kwan for Zootopia 2, Sergi Lopez for Sirat, David Bradley for Frankenstein, and Skarsgård at number 1. I also consider Sirat an ensemble. The only honourable mention for actress was Arden Cho in K-pop. Bryce 5 Buckley, Hudson, Jennifer Goodwin for Zootopia 2, Emily Stone, and Rose Byrne. The 3 honourable mentions for actor: Bateman for Zootopia, Edgerton for Train Dreams, and Plemons for Begonia, with Bry's list being Michael B. Jordan, Paul Mescal, Hugh Jackman, Miles Caton ahead of Jordan, okay, and Chalamet at number 1. And Chalamet is his preferred performance out of all the acting stuff. Bry also says the reason I put Katon in lead, although Smoke and Stack at the center, is if you go by the story, you're going through the perspective of Sammy from beginning to end. Yeah, I can certainly see that. Director honorable mentions: Olivier Lax for Sirat, Dominique Shi, Madeline Serafan and Edwin Molina for Elio, Craig Brewer for Song Sung Blue, David Bornstein for Mr. Nobody Against Putin, and Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value. Bryce 5 is Jared Bush and Byron Howard for Zootopia 2, Cameron for Avatar, Ugo Bienvenu for Arco, Safdie for Mighty Supreme, and Kugler for Sinners. And then the Best Picture honorable mentions: Hamnet, F1, K-pop, Perfect Neighbor, Little Amelie, Sirat, and Elio. And Bry's personal 10 would be Zootopia 2, Song Sung Blue, Mr. Nobody Against Putin, Begonia, Arco, Frankenstein, Sentimental Value, Avatar, Marty Supreme, and number 1 being Sinners. Good to see, though, that there is some love for Song Sung Blue.
I like that supporting actor list, too. It's missing some things, but I like what's there.
Good old David Bradley. Right, so then scroll back to see what I went by. Josie saying... Spencer saying... Barbara Streisand's last movie is The Guilt Trip with Seth Rogen. That's sad. Well, you should have been her agent, Spencer, and said, don't. Thoughts on The Mirror Has Two Faces?
Oh, God. That's probably another one where I watched it for like an Oscar checklist, but it didn't stick. I have a Streisand 3 pack
Mhm.
up there. That's that, the Prince of Tides, and the Way We Were. I have two copies. So I would need to revisit that before I say anything because I've got no memory of it. I hate how many times I have to say that, but that happened to so many movies.
Um, Dances with Wolves is good, but doesn't need to be 4 hours. Yeah.
Well, originally it was three. Four's the extended version, but I probably agree as well.
Josie's saying to me and you, AJ, have we read anything by Anne Rice? She's just picked up Cry to Heaven from the library.
I've flirted with the idea, but I haven't yet.
I'm trying to double check as to. I think way back in the day, I think I read Into a View of the Vampire, which is probably why I was more akin to the TV series than the actual movie from like what 90s
94.
94 was it?
Yeah.
Um, just probably because it feels like it'd be easier to sort of tell a story, especially with the fact that it's 30. Technically, if you just count the existing Vampire Chronicle series, it's 13 books. Not even including, because I think there's some people that don't know that whatever that Queen of the Damned adaptation was from 2001, um, or was it no? I guess it was 2002. People don't think it's the same thing, especially because she basically denounced it and like, I don't know what this shit is. Da, 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 da. Oh, Josie asking you, Owen, thoughts on the band The New Radicals? Do you like any of their songs?
Yeah, New Radicals are great. Yeah, it's a shame that most people remember them as a one-hit wonder. You Only Get What You Give is a fantastic song, very true to the time that it came out. And I really enjoyed, like, for example, one of the things I like to watch, like, and I'm not going to call it a guilty pleasure. I have no shame in this whatsoever. I like Todd in the Shadows a lot, and that's so I get a lot of my music discourse from is Todd in the Shadows throughout the years, like his One Hit Wonderland episodes, things like that. That's how I got so big into like Semisonic and Flock of Seagulls and things like that, and bands that I never would have really known outside of like other like one song. Like literally, it's called One Hit Wonderland for a reason, and so many things that they could have done with their career. Yeah, I like the New Radicals
And
a lot,
again, that is
actually.
fascinating in this fact that when I hear One Hit Wonder, it's like, so they probably did other stuff,
Oh yeah,
except
for
in
sure.
that case,
But not all.
they did that album and basically disbanded the year after.
Yeah, they really feel like being famous. Honestly, that's exactly what it was. But that song will go down in
Mm-hmm.
history. And Greg Alexander's done really well for himself anyway because he's moved on to behind the scenes.
Spencer says, big fan of Owen, such a cool guy. With Josie saying Owen is a wonderful, heartfelt person.
way too much than I need to be sometimes, but I'm honest as much as I
Well, it
can
seems
be.
like we've also given Spencer something else regarding Pacific Heights because he's also mentioned it's time to watch Moving Violations again.
Damn right. Oh, I'm moving violations, my friend.
This I feel is pertinent as well because of Pride Month and everything, and partially because it's getting, certainly in my local cinema, it's getting a maybe a 30th anniversary re-release.
Call Me by Your Name is actually running in my AMC
Spencer's mention it.
this
Spencer's
month.
asking, and Josie's given her thoughts on it as well. Our thoughts on the Birdcage.
I've always liked the Birdcage a lot. It's outright hilarious. I never saw Lacage though, so I can't really say the comparison between the two. But from what people tell me, it seems like it's kind of like not really night and day. It's kind of like just about the same thing.
Yeah, they're pretty close. I love the Birdcage. I've seen it several times. I do not love it as much as my brother does. It's like one of my brother's favorites.
That is absolutely a correct statement, and most people don't know that.
I mean, certainly, when you look at I forget that she did Primary Colors. Then again, she did Ishtar, which is, of course, the obvious joke. And allegedly, she's directing something called Crackpot or something. I don't know whether that's like in production and has been forever, but
we we glossed over it, and like I said, blame my sanity right now and my tiredness. But I will say that one of the things, because I didn't, like I said, I didn't really click with Backrooms. But speaking of Robin Williams, and you can definitely tell when you know, there was a lot of inspiration from 1 Hour Photo.
Hmm.
And I 1,000,000% see it.
I wouldn't have thought of that, but I guess it does make sense.
Yeah, once you know that, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
oh, Josie mentioning for you, Owen, I think you totally dig 1986's Offbeat starring Judge Reinhold.
Probably. I I again, I've made this perfectly clear numerous times, and everyone that I know, Josie and Brian and Spencer, probably have heard it a billion times too. But at the end of the day, if there's new people watching, hi. Number one. Number two, I didn't watch as many movies as AJ and Ashley have, and I've watched a lot of really bizarre stuff, and that's the reason why we get things like moving violations and follow that bird and things like that. So
I certainly can't give an opinion on this one. Owen probably can't. This is probably down to you, AJ, if you've somehow seen it. Which, with I guess some of its Oscar connections, you may have. Thoughts on the sins of Madeleine Claudet?
Oh my god.
I was going to say, I wasn't sure considering it's the 30s.
Yeah,
So.
that goes way. Yeah, that goes way back. Again, it was part of an Oscar checklist forever ago, and nothing has stuck. I have to go back.
Oh, that was Spencer asking, sorry, rather than Josie. Josie followed up with when my friend and I got out of Obsession, we discussed how the wording of wishes is so important. And to that point, he brought up, what if someone wanted to say, I wish to cure all diseases? How would that go wrong in the world of Obsession?
I feel like we're gonna find out sooner rather than later because it really feels like Curry wants to go further into this universe.
Mm-hmm.
And see, I'm a very much a proponent of manifesting in the correct verbiage, because if you don't, then obviously it's not going to work, because you can be extremely obvious without being obvious, and it's not exactly how you wanted it to be, because everybody because just because you say something doesn't necessarily mean that it can't get misconstrued. You have to be specific if you are making a wish like that, or if you're trying to manifest anything, because if you don't, you're like, oh yeah, let's say you want to talk to somebody and that's what you ask for. People have different names in this world. It doesn't necessarily have to be there.
In
You never
in that
know. I know for a
in,
fact
in
that's a
that
shoot,
in that
but
respect
the thing
now,
about
I'm
it is you
kind of
have to be
wondering how
specific.
much Obsession is partly inspired by either the remake or the original Bedazzled, because
That's possible too.
the wording of the wishes is very key to the plots of those.
That's where my mind went
Mm-hmm.
also.
I think Spencer's been going on a retro thing because I've had to look these up because I didn't know what they were. Thoughts on either 1929's Lucky Star or 1930's Big Trail? Big Trail I vaguely know because of it obviously being a John Wayne film where he didn't play somebody called John.
I don't think I saw either of those actually.
I'm guessing at this point. Wait, what's the? Would they be in public domain yet? Was it 100 years on film? I can't remember.
Right.
Either way. Josie, following up on the thing, my friend said depending on what people consider diseases, people could be harmed drastically. Because, like, if somebody sees homosexuality as a disease, that could really, you know, mix things up. Oh well.
But it's not inherently within the concept that it makes it bad, right?
No,
No.
it doesn't have to be bad. It's just
Like we were saying, that clerk that said he used his wish seems perfectly happy, and his friend got the. I mean, the money came in a very inconvenient way, but it still happened.
I'm wondering whether that character shows up in the paranormal thing, and that's he's used the money from that to do.
you kind of can't now.
Um, I don't know whether you can give any takes on this, Owen. The Nate Bog. What the fuck is his name?
Nate
Nate
Bargatze,
Bargatze. The
yeah,
breadwinner
you're
is AI
talking about.
slop.
I love Mandy Moore. I really do, and I still will never let the world shut down. There was a concept for Mandy Moore to do live shows, and I had bought tickets to be front row for one of these live shows, and it would be at a venue that is always going to be special to me for reasons. And she canceled all of them. So I could have been like orchestra pit for Mandy Moore, and that would have been amazing. And given the fact that who she represents, needless to say, I'm still a little biased on it. The one thing I'll say about the breadwinner, I don't know Nate's comedy at all. Not really. He's an SNL guy, at least partially. Um, Apparently the movie's based on like true stories from his stand-up. Um, the biggest takeaway I could get from it is I got to dance in my seat to Opalite, which was great, and I actually got to hear Candy as part of the soundtrack. The only thing I can say redeeming about that movie was its music.
It probably says a bit. Yeah, Spencer says none of the jokes of the movie itself landed for me.
No, not at all. It did with the people that were surrounding me though. I because of the stupid schedule. Thanks, film bookers. I had to watch this thing at 10 a.m. on no
Ooh.
food and barely any sleep after running my miles. So needless to say, I was not in a good mood. I was starving, and I had to watch everybody surrounding me like really get into it. And I was like, nah, this isn't it. Can I just get this movie over with so I can go get pizza? Come on. And I'll be the same way tomorrow because the way the schedule works, I got to watch Masters of the Universe and Power Ballad before I can get food.
Joe, as you say, none of the jokes in the trailer landed for me for Breadwinner. So.
Not That's Mandy Moore. That's it. The selling point is Mandy Moore and
Giving
getting here Taylor
spoilers
Swift.
away, I
And
interpreted Backrooms as an allegory for private equity.
I thought she was about to say, I don't want to give any spoilers, but and then say something about the breadwinner as if spoilers for it.
She saw Obsession while cat sitting for my brother and his wife while they were in China. Also mentioning that Squidward was in the Backrooms.
God.
Theory, since they're both A24 films, Guy Pearce's character got lost in the Backrooms. That's how he disappeared.
Yeah, that checks out.
Spencer saying how AJ's wife Emily Blunt getting rave reviews for Disclosure Day, which is good to hear.
I've heard that. I'm watching my normal stuff on YouTube and I'm trying to sleep, and of course I'm laying in bed. I'm not getting up for any reason. So if the commercials decide they want to play, yes, so be it. I'll make my friends some money. So one of them was an interview with Coleman Domingo, and all he did was rave about Blunt in Disclosure Day, saying it's probably her best performance to date. And I am very interested to see how this performance plays out. I can't wait for this movie.
That's such a high bar.
I'm still
Yes,
trying to
very
work
much so.
out whether this is Spielberg's Prometheus, though.
That's not a bad thing
I
if
mean,
you're us.
or no, it's more in the aspect of, are we gonna find out that this is like the unofficial sequel? Well, unofficial as we know of, but then we'll find out it's a sequel to like Close Encounters or something like that.
They've done very well to keep the actual entity off the screen in any of the trailers.
Yeah,
I feel like
bar
we're
the
not
little
going to
bit
know
of the
any.
alien that they did show. That was very well done in the trailer, where it's sort of the caribou or whatever, the deer head moves around, and then it sort of in that aspect it seems like it's the blooming scene from 2001 where it's like it's a planet. No, it's a baby. Intrigued as to whether that was just done for whether that scene appears in the film or not in that aspect. Spencer saying, can film Fjord keeps the Renate streak alive? Thoughts on My Girl? It's a bit random. Oh, thoughts on Renate? She's doing good stuff. Although part of me feels like, certainly with her Backrooms appearance, I kind of feel she's possibly fearingly falling into the Numi Rapace stuff, and that she's gonna get a couple of years where Hollywood loves her, and then people forget about her, and then she's just doing small stuff. I don't want that to happen. That's why I'm sort of wanting it to sort of be the other way around, but considering sort of how Numi got attention, had I want to say a few years of getting like major Hollywood projects, and then sort of is back to sort of doing the foreign films or the small budget stuff. I don't know.
I mean, Prometheus was probably her biggest thing, wasn't it? And then it was just like side female co-lead for a few movies, and
Yeah.
then that was it.
Spencer also saying the neon can streak is alive and well. Oh, at this point I'm trying to work out what the difference is. Spencer asks A24 neon or Mubi?
As far as their whole catalog, I would say A24 has. I would say A24 has an advantage though because it's more vast. I have a very particular beef with Neon.
Yeah.
So I can't really.
I want to say at least for over here, Movie does try and get some of those foreign projects and all sort of the projects that I feel like when I go to the sort of collector's Blu-rays, I always try and keep an eye on the movie stuff if there is a sale, because they've got a very sort of really good mix of stuff. Certainly with Neon and A24, you wouldn't get that over here with either of them. If Mubi sort of like your 88 films, your BFIs, even to some extent your Criterions, because they've got the sort of shelf space for that and everything as well. So, because what Mubi?
That I think the only movie I might own is.
Which one?
I only know because I'm looking directly at it.
Which one again? I think the call broke up a bit.
Substance.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, is there? I shouldn't say list of movie films, but yeah, Die My Love from last year. Queer over here certainly is. A fair few of Andrea Arnold stuff, including Bird is. Priscilla, How to Have Sex. Like there's a lot of good stuff, at least in the UK. And that's the thing as well. And of course After Sun, where we all found Paul Mescal mostly. Um, yeah, they do a lot of sort of getting some of the foreign stuff predominantly as well. Yeah, because they're the ones that distributed Guadagnino's Suspiria back in 2018 for us, at least. So they sort of only... The company's sort of roughly 20 years old, but at least in terms of UK stuff has only been around for 10. But the key thing I do like is how they do want to do physical releases. They're not just wanting to stick it solely on their streaming service.
Yes, that should always be encouraged.
Because, yeah. Oh, only in Eastern Europe the distributors for Peter Hoyer's Day. I don't know if they've got. Oh, they're doing Nicholas Winding Refn's new project and Palowski's Fatherland as well. So there's a few big name directors as well, and Andrew Hayes follow up to All of Us Strangers. Anyway, when will Ghostface go to space, Spencer? If they're that desperate, the next scary movie, considering the reviews. Anyway, ooh, Josie, and I think this is the one that I saw Spencer give a reply to. What directors would you like to see Navarrete work with? And I think Spencer says possibly Tarantino or Coogler.
I never know how to answer questions like this because it could be pretty much anybody. Like I'm almost trying to think of who like she wouldn't suit. Like like I don't know if you could imagine her in like a Wes Anderson, but
I
like you could name like any horror director or any thriller director, and it
I
would
don't
be the right answer.
I yeah, you have her like in like a twisted like Alice in Wonderland style with like in a Wes Anderson movie sipping tea.
I'm trying to think who's like a deep cut indie director that has a lot of female led. Like who made that movie with Elizabeth Moss? That's just like three really long. Like whoever made that. Her Smell, I think, is the title. I can't remember
She'd
who
be
made it
fun.
now.
She'd be fun to a Skuniverse.
Uh, Josie saying, which setting would you like to see a Backrooms world version of? A library, a bowling alley, a casino, or a hospital?
Bowling Alley's a good one.
I like Casino too. Bowling Alley seems to have a lot more to it, but the casino might be interesting too. A never-ending casino. I mean, that's pretty much all the Vegas casinos. There's no clocks or anything. You don't know what time or what day or what year it is anyway. So if you don't find it before, you can get lost. I mean, I got Caesar Palace before.
In terms
Anything's
of the one that
possible.
could have the interesting atmosphere, I'd say sort of hospital corridors because of all the various sort of equipment that you could possibly hear whirring or beeping sort of in the background.
Hospital's too played
Yeah,
out. I think
true.
I'd go with bowling alley or, or casino.
A third one gets added in, but it's because it's the same film. It's sort of maybe you could incorporate it in. Which magician would win in a magic duel? Renner's character in The Immigrant, or either Hugh Jackman's character or Bale's character from The Prestige?
Probably
Yeah,
Bale.
I'd say Bale
Bale.
always seems to be one step ahead of Jackman's character in that for sure.
Justice Smith.
Yeah.
That's for you, AJ.
There's your Now You See Me reference for the week. Bry's new Blu-rays was the '07 Hairspray, Wicked for Good, and the Criterion releases of Sentimental Value and Sancho the Bailiff, which obviously then
You had me going. So you bring up the last one. So.
and then follows it up obviously with thoughts on the August lineup, which I'll briefly run through in reverse order because I feel like the interesting one is at the start of the month rather than
I
the end. So
I was gonna say I saw it, but I don't remember anything.
on the 25th we've got the Kazuo Hara and Sashikuro Kobayashi documentary set of 5 of what was it? Goodbye CP, Extreme Private Eros Love Song 74, Empire's Naked Army Marches On, A Dedicated Life, and Senan Asbestos Disaster. And then alongside that, we've got James Gray's Little Odessa, and then the documentary pairing of, although they've been separate releases, of Barbara Koppel's American Dream and Harlan County, USA. On the 11th, we've got Coup de Torchon from Bertrand Tavernier. But then the one on the 4th, I think, is the tasty one, and that's Todd Haynes' Safe.
I'm assuming this is a reissue. It is already in the collection.
More than likely. It's just, it's going to be good to see on a 4K. I'm guessing it's a 4K. Well, pretty much everything's 4K from Criterion now.
It's nice to see Barbara Koppel getting a shout out from.
Oh yeah, with a numbered spine of 739, it's definitely not a new one. Thoughts on Narnia getting a wide theatrical release now in 2027? I mean, it's good that Netflix is getting behind doing that at least.
Yeah.
Because at first I was thinking, well, that ain't happening, is it? And then the other important news that pertains to certainly probably all 3 of us. Thoughts on the IMAX exclusive week or whatever of Adventures of Cliff Booth in November, ahead of it coming out on Netflix for Christmas.
Well, I'm glad it's getting like a cool release and everything, but I kept hearing August. So when I saw the release date, that kind of took me back a little bit. I was thinking it was much sooner, but
in that aspect, I'm trying to work
yeah,
whether they do think it's got the potential to be an awards contender, because obviously that November-December bit seems to be the traditional, at least, time of when you'd want to have your stuff out, because it's somewhat in people's short-term memory when they think back to it, when they start doing the nominations sort of, early to mid-December-ish. Well, we'll see. Netflix purchased the Black Ball, Roy says, which many people are saying is their candidate after Narnia got pushed. Oh, right. Wait, what is the Black Ball? Which is weird, because I'd have thought they'd have been behind Adventures of Cliff Booth, but I guess I'm wrong. Oh, it's a foreign one with Penelope Cruz from Javier Calvo and Javier Ambrosi, and I'm hoping he just gets named Alvaro Calvo rather than whatever his stage name. I don't even want to say that because I'm going to bloody butcher it. Dear God. Oh, the plot is set in 1932, 1937, and 2017, exploring the interconnected lives of 3 gay men. I mean, I get the 32 and 37 connection, but how does it jump 80 years? Okay. Oh, Bryce saying because it's a Spanish LGBTQ themed movie, hopefully it isn't another Amelia Perez. One thing I'm going to mention here, and I'm not going to say much on it because I'm going to do a video on it myself because it's more of a story I've kept secret for at least 2 years. And I had to wait not just after the award season, but also after I saw the movie, which I did like, and it made my top 10. Remember this past season I said Begonia was the bane of my existence, even though it's not anymore. The whole sum up is, and this will explain more in my upcoming video, is I had an opportunity to audition specifically for the role of Don, which is Aidan Delbis's character. Well, that's an interesting hook to get us watching, Brian.
Yeah, I'll be interested to hear what this was about.
Josie with some obsession stuff. I'm in the school of thought that Bear is the villain. He's irresponsible and selfish, takes a woman's autonomy away. Maybe Nikki was right in considering leaving the store because her friend group members were all pieces of crap. Then she mentions regarding the Neon stuff. I understand people liking the idea of a film from a studio other than Neon taking the palm, and their concerns about Neon not being able to handle all the films they acquire for awards campaigns. Those concerns are certainly fair. However, I find the deliberate rooting against it winning to be disingenuous because Cannes, even more so than the Oscars, is supposed to be about honouring filmmaking, not the brand. It's a slightly different scenario, but when I choose clothing, I don't go by brand but what looks good. The same can be said with movies in their studios. I think the trend of a neon-backed film winning has less to do with neon and more to do with the nature of film distribution. As I brought up last Q&A, while this may sound hypocritical on my behalf, given what I just said, if there was a studio I'd rather not see win the palm, it's Mubi, because F Israel. Which is ironic because it's a Turkish guy in charge. So. I'm really excited for Fjord. Christian Munger is a brilliant filmmaker, but I'm really excited to see how it tackles touchy subjects. I'll get back to the other stuff in a minute. Actually, no, I'll leave the Bryce prediction stuff until the end because I think Josie mentioned today's birthdays include Noah Wiley, Angelina Jolie, Keith David, Bruce Dern, Maria Bakalova, B. Gan, the Chinese filmmaker, and the late great Rosalind Russell. Oh, Nolan says he's a fan of Obsession. I mean, that sounds about right. Although that might be because it's a Universal film. Son of a bitch. Speaking of Nolan and counting down to the Odyssey, I trust him with delivering a fantastic spectacle, but I also want to give a shout to Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Because that movie's outstanding. And have we got any favourite scenes from that? I mean, it's the one that's really sort of used a lot, but just because of the slapstickness of the sort of the train bit. You know, where they go out the train and, you know, try and do that bit from The World Is Not Enough, but obviously when they're chained together, there's no chance of staying clung to the train. And yeah, Josie also does some additional obsession stuff. Not to mention Sarah doesn't try to help Nikki as she's hurting herself at the party. Curry Baker's the same birthday as my brother's wife.
On the favorite or brother scenes, I guess the conclusion I'm coming to is that's a hard question to ask about any Coen Brothers movie.
Yeah.
Because it's just like the whole package.
To me, that's akin if somebody said to me, "What's your favorite Grand Budapest Hotel scene?" and I'd say yes. There's a lot of good setups in
Yeah.
both of those where it's just there's enough good scenes that there's not really one specific one I'd say is the sort of it depends, you know, when I watch it, which one sort of tickles me the most, if you want to say it like that.
Yeah, because you never have a favorite Lebowski
Mm,
scene or anything. I think I know my favorite joke in Lebowski. I wouldn't call it my favorite scene, but the the bit with the chair against the door is one of the funniest things that's ever been put on film. And it's, but you could say that about the whole thing, basically.
and then Josie also says, "Imagine the Backrooms copied version of the Sentiment of Value House."
Oh,
Right, so the Oscars game from Brian. Film editing of the 80s. So let me quickly get the list up, along with Brian mentioning it. So, with 1980, do we stick with Raging Bull or twist to Coal Miner's Daughter, The Competition, The Elephant Man, or Fame?
it almost seems too obvious, but that's gotta be Raging Bull, right?
Yeah, I think for that list, Raging Bull's the strongest of them. Same for you, Owen.
Yes.
So then with 81, Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is not AJ's pick. Interesting assumption there. Beating out Chariots of Fire, French Lieutenant's Woman, On Golden Pond, and Reds.
You see, I don't want to say Raiders, but in that lineup, I
Yeah,
probably would.
I. If I had to, Chariots of Fire may be considered, but again, out of that list, I think Raiders is the best edited. Same for you, Owen. Okay.
Yes.
Just say it. Once I finish talking, and Owen, so I know when to. So we haven't got too many pauses. So 82, Gandhi beating out Das Boot, E.T., Tootsie, and An Officer and a Gentleman.
Is it kind of crazy how well Tootsie did,
Yeah,
Oscar wise? I mean, it's great, but you wouldn't have
yeah.
thought. Um, I might, um, maybe Das Boot's the right answer.
I probably stick with Gandhi, but that's a low key good lineup, I'd say, for those five.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For 83, Right Stuff beat out Blue Thunder, Flashdance, Silkwood, and Tons of Endearment.
Blue Thunder's inspired. I totally forgot that movie even has an Oscar nomination. um, I kind of want to say that because it's so inspired. Because I mean, I feel like the right stuff's probably the right choice, but I kind of want to say Blue Thunder.
I probably. I mean, just because Roy Schneider's in the lead, I'm sort of already interested in it, but considering only because of what I heard about the car chase, am I aware of Roy Schneider also being good in the 7 Ups? Just coincidental that they've both got epic car chases. I probably stick with the right stuff myself.
I agree.
1984. Amadeus, Cotton Club, A Passage to India, and Romancing the Stone all lost out to the Killing Fields.
I'm saying the Cotton Club on this. The Cotton Club's climax is fucking spectacular, and would get this single-handed from me.
I'd probably go Amadeus.
Same.
With 85, Witness beat Out of Africa, Prizzy's Honor, A Chorus Line, and Runaway Train. John Voight.
Runaway Train and A Chorus Line are both good options, but Witness feels right.
Yeah, I'd probably stick with Witness.
A Chorus Line.
Oh, for 86, Platoon beats out Aliens, Hannah and Her Sisters, The Mission, and Top Gun. That's another good list, I feel.
It feels wrong to not say Alien, even though I wanted to say Platoon, I really did. But I feel like I'm lying to myself.
I was just reading it through because for some reason it was near like the Myrtle style books in the bookshop, but top YouTuber Tom Scott's got a book version of his lateral thing, and apparently when James Cameron pitched Aliens to Fox, he wrote the letter S on a board and put 2 lines through the S just to say it'll make money, and that was it. It wasn't even the aspect of like what you did with the graphics and just put the S on the side of Alien. It was just make the dollar sign. I mean, he was right, but also, I'd probably go with Aliens. But again, that's another one where there's none of the 5 there that I'm like I don't think should be there.
Yeah.
Top Gun.
Ooh, for 87, Last Emperor beat out Broadcast News, Empire of the Sun, Fatal Attraction, and RoboCop.
Not to like stick with sci-fi or anything, but wow, I really want to say Robo. we can say what we want, right? Fuck it, I will. Fine, I'll say RoboCop.
On that list, I'd kind of go Fatal Attraction, to be fair.
Yeah, especially as like the third act's coming and she like takes the daughter and it starts to like ramp up. Yeah.
I'll also go with Fatal Attraction.
For 88, wow, this is Die Hard, Gorillas in the Mist, Mississippi Burning, and Rain Man all lost out to Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
That's the best lineup yet, isn't it? Yeah, the Roger Rabbit win is too inspired. You kind of have to say that. I really want to say Die Hard. Honestly, I love the editing in Rain Man. But yeah, it's Roger Rabbit's too inspired to not say that. It has to be.
I go with that, but I do find it interesting that I now know that the co-editor of Die Hard also edited RoboCop the year before. But that does sound in context because of the action aspect of both of them. That doesn't surprise me. Owen.
Can't go against Roger Rabbit. I love that movie.
And then for 89, Born on the 4th of July beat out Driving Miss Daisy, The Fabulous Baker Boys, Glory, and The Bear. No, not that one.
Born on the 4th of July seems right.
Out of that list.
That's kind of an underwhelming lineup following the last one.
Out of that list, I'd probably go with Born on the 4th.
Agreed.
Right, and then right. So for the next category will be production design, of which we have the 20s and 30s. Bry mentioning some of the 40s, as in only those that have 5 nods or less will get covered. So I guess we won't be doing the ones where there's stupid lists. And outside of that, the 60s, the 80s, and the 2000s.
Are we saying 2000? Probably be the easiest.
Yeah, I was thinking sort of leaving it around for a bit, but then again, I don't know. Yeah, 60s we can sort of come back to, and I don't think it. I don't want to stay 80s as back to back as much as we can, just so we have got some semi newer stuff to go with. So yeah, production design of the 2000s, bro. If you're watching this on archive for next time around. So with that, that is us done and wrapped up. Thank you, Brian, Spencer, and Josie in chat. Uh, we will be, I think, returning Tuesday. I'm just seeing what my
Yes.
schedule is, so I'm trying to work out how much sleep I'm going to get after we're done discussing May 2009. But yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday with your at least regularly scheduled season of content. Take us out for the rest of it, Owen.
Well, that's your show. Thanks everyone for joining us tonight, whether live or in archive. Find Ashley on X at Ash is my name UK. More AJ content is forthcoming. More Ashley content is forthcoming. More of my content is forthcoming at Sir Owen Disney on X as well. That's gonna be your show. Obviously, we have a new Taylor Swift song dropping, coinciding with Toy Story 5. That officially drops tonight. So I Knew It, I Knew You. Hopefully, getting Taylor closer to an EGOT. I'm down with that. Let's go. Um, we've got that, and then of course, Water Parks Jinx comes out on the 24th of July. Looking forward to that. AEW's kicking ass right now, so if you're watching wrestling, check it out. If you haven't yet, please do. All hail Matt Johnson. Always remember to have the best day ever. Tis the season after all. And in the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. Until next time, boys and girls. That's all we got to say about that.